Now, when we're in business, we grow, our businesses grow, and during that time, we find that we don't always have the skills that we need or want to develop and grow our businesses. So the point of these mini videos, if you like, is that I can put the spotlight on some of the areas in business that you may feel that you are struggling with or want to know more about. So I'm super excited today that the gorgeous Georgie Holt from Campbell Rose has joined me. Now, I just wanted to share with you a little bit about Campbell Rose. So Campbell Rose makes the recruitment process effortless, and I know that she does. She also makes it fun, which I love that you put that, Georgie, in the description here for me, that it is a fun process, because I think we often think of recruitment as being a very difficult process. So Campbell Rose makes the recruitment process effortless, fun and cost effective by offering tailored packages to support you and your business through the recruitment process. And Georgie, I have to say that I really loved that it's about a tailored package. It's about a tailored approach, because that's about saying not every business is the same. But I've got a question for you. You call yourself a talent sourcer. And I'm really interested because there are lots of terms: a recruitment agency, headhunter, talent sourcer. Tell me a little bit about why you specifically have used talent sourcer.
Okay, so one, obviously it sounds really good, which is fantastic. Talent sourcing is different to a sort of standard recruitment consultant as such, because the service as a talent sourcer that you provide to your customers and clients is very bespoke. So, for instance, if you use a recruitment agency, they may have countless, hundreds, thousands of people, candidates on their books. So if you have a job and you say, right, okay, I'm looking for this person, for example, a marketing executive, what they might do is they will have a look and go through all of their marketing candidates that they have registered, and they may have a look on some job boards with regards to sort of current people that might be looking, etc. And they will then, from that group of people, give you, say, for instance, your top 5 of what they have. Now, that is absolutely fine, and that can work really, really well in the generalist market. I don't work like that. I'm a talent sourcer. So I'm very much, the candidates I have registered with me are very driven by the roles that I'm working on at the moment. So for instance, if I was working on a marketing role, I would speak to my client, I would get a really true understanding of exactly what's important with regards to what their credentials need to be, how good they need to be at what they do, and the personality piece as well. So what that enables me then to do is then I will then go and find what they're looking for. I don't go to my database and pull the best of what I've got. I go, right, because every client's different. Even if it's a marketing exec, one marketing exec could be completely different to another marketing exec for a different company. So it's all about tailoring not just the service for the customer or the client, it's tailoring the candidate for that particular client. So it's going out to market and headhunting. So talent sourcing and headhunting are pretty much the same thing. So it's about understanding your client's needs and going to market and finding exactly what they're looking for. And that's where the differential between just a recruitment consultant, which you can do, and you can also be a sort of talent sourcer and headhunter.
So one of the things I know certainly from the work that I do and the clients that I work with, they're quite reticent to use recruitment agencies. That's often because of a bad experience. That can be around cost. And I know that there are lots, and we should say this, there are lots of awesome recruitment agencies out there.
Absolutely.
But it feels like it feels quite challenging for them. Equally, I work with clients who just think, I don't understand how it's even going to work. And one of the things we want to do is demystify really this world of recruitment and the value that using a talent sourcer or a recruitment agency, to be fair, how that adds value to your business.
No, absolutely. And I think recruitment agencies, consultants, headhunters, we kind of sometimes fall in the same bracket as estate agents, in the respect of everyone's had a bad experience.
Yes,
and
so
everyone are going, oh, you're a recruitment consultant, oh well, they charge, yeah, they do this, they do that. So we kind of very much fall into that. A lot of people have, if they have used a recruitment agency or an independent consultant, they haven't necessarily had the service, and they can't see the value of what that's actually going to bring to their business. So it's kind of, I suppose, not every recruitment agency is the same, without a shadow of a doubt. You have high street agencies, you have independent agencies, you have independent consultants, more like me. So there's a lot of variety to pick from. Now, what's important is making sure you pick the right one for your business. Now, with working with sort of small to medium-sized companies, but like you say, some people just have no idea even where to begin that recruitment process. Some people, like say, are very reticent, go, oh my God, that's going to cost me thousands of pounds, and I don't even really know what they do. So it's when you meet a client, it's making them understand what you're going to be doing as a service for them, and where they can see the value in that for their business. So, for example, it might be, I've recently done head of brand marketing for a client in Oxford. Now, they know that's quite a specific role, and they could advertise it, but because of the nature of what that role is, it will come, there's lots of things that they're looking for, and they would get quite a diverse range of CVs that would fall into their inbox. And then they would have to go through those applications, kind of try and make an understanding of whether they're going to be any use for it. Is it worth taking them to the next step, etc. And when you don't do it on a regular basis, just managing applications that are coming in left, right, and centre. And sometimes people don't even read a job description. They would literally just send their CV, and they might be, I don't know, for instance, they might be a chef, and they're going to apply for your role, and you're like, why would you do that? So the process of recruitment is to understand your client, to understand what they're looking for, and then finding those candidates, and equally advertising the role. So you are having applications that come through, because you always do that. And even with my role as a talent sourcer, not all of the roles I've placed have been purely headhunting. It has been from an application process, and working through that application process, because a lot of clients could end up with anywhere between, I had a client the other day that I spoke to, they're like, we don't know where to start now. We advertised it, we've got 80 to 100 CVs now, and they're like, we don't know what to do, help, kind of thing. So where it adds value to your business is the fact that if you're going to take somebody on as an independent consultant to help you, a recruitment agent, for this specific role that might take you 3-4 weeks, to from start to finish, to screen, to headhunt, to go through the applications, to do first interviews, briefing, second interviews. It's that complete service. Now, that takes a lot of time. There's a lot of things that happen behind closed doors with recruiting that the surface level clients don't sort of see that's happening. One, it's obviously going through the applications, it's writing the job adverts, it's advertising the role, it's going through those applications, screening those applications, you compiling your shortlist of what you think is going to marry up with your client's requests, formatting CVs. So not everybody formats CVs, but it's something that I do, because it gives my client a clear and concise view of a candidate. So I Campbell Rose my CV. So every CV that I send is the same. So it's easy on the eye, it's formatted. Some people's CVs, especially senior CVs, can be so complicated. And you kind of read the first sentence, you're like, oh, this is not going to make any sense to my client whatsoever. So formatting CVs can take quite a considerable amount of time. Then I brief my clients with regards to the shortlisted candidates, chat through that with them, give them an idea why I'm saying that they're shortlisted. Then we'll then put an interview process in, get dates, liaise with the other candidates, work around that, interview brief with the actual candidate as well, to give them a really good overview and give them a really good footing, sort of heading towards into that interview. So they've got belts and braces of what to expect. Then interview feedback from both candidate and client, and then second interview process. And then once that's done, again, interview feedback, from client and candidate, then negotiating the offers and things like that. And again, a lot of clients, they don't necessarily like talking about the negotiating the fee of, you might say, right, I've got a salary of between say 35 and 40,000 for this particular role, but you want to bring them in a certain level. Sometimes that's quite an awkward conversation. So if you can leave it to somebody that actually negotiates on your behalf, say, right, this is the package. Okay. And I might go, right, okay, that's fine. But judging by their experience, let's have just a chat about this, because I know we can get them over the line for this. So this is where we need to pitch it, have a chat with the client, negotiate terms, get the candidate over the line. And again, not all agencies do this, but I also reference from my clients as well. So again, it's something else that takes it away from the client. So if you think of that as the journey of just finding one person, now, if you happen to do that journey as well as your full-time job, and as well as running your business, as well as making money, then that is going to take such a huge chunk of your day away. So you might be a MD or a business owner, or even an HR manager or HR director within a company, that you've got your own tasks to do for that particular week, for example, and you're really good at what you do. So why don't you keep doing what you're really, really good at, build your business, manage whatever you're doing, make money for your company, and then bring somebody on board that can do all of that legwork for you, which is a lot of legwork. And like I said, there's an awful lot that people don't realize you do behind the scenes to make sure you're onboarding that perfect 5-star candidate for your 5-star business. It's getting that collaboration, marrying those together.
We talked, I mentioned the being cost effective, and for me, what's really coming through strongly is it is a cost effective solution from the very moment that you make that decision to allow and invite somebody else in to do that work for you, because it's time saving. And
Absolutely.
Actually, the way you've described it and the amount of time it would take you, it would take someone who doesn't do this day in, day out, a huge amount of time. And then I was thinking as well that there's more cost savings. So being, the cost effectiveness goes beyond that initial stage, doesn't it? Because actually, by you doing the work and using your experience and knowledge and finding the right candidate, will most likely, I'm going to take a wild guess, tell me if I'm wrong, they will onboard much quicker. They will integrate with the company much quicker. So therefore, the company will start to see a return on that investment much, much quicker.
Absolutely.
Presumably it helps with retention, all of those things. So that cost-effective solution, actually, it's not just about a cost-effective solution for you to work with that company. It is much bigger than that, isn't it? From the time saving and from having that right candidate come into the business. And I think that's really strongly came across to you when you were talking. I was thinking, how do people even find time to do
Absolutely. This? And I think you're dead right. If you haven't got the experience as well, that whole process, you lose momentum, it takes ages, then you're like, oh, do you know what, I'll do it tomorrow, I haven't got time, I need to find these people to arrange interviews, are they even right for the job, I don't know, and oh, don't worry, I'll park it and do it another time. The analogy I use to a lot of clients is, if you have an accountant, you have a business that's successful. Now, do you do all of your accounts? Do you file all your accountant? Do you understand all the pros and cons of running a business from a financially viable point? I know I don't. I have an accountant that does that because I'm not experienced. If I did that, it would take me hours. And also I would literally park it every day, go, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. I procrastinate about it, I'll do it tomorrow. So I use it very much as that. If you want to get the best accounting out of your business, you choose the best accountant for that, because they are exceptional at what they do. Now, if you want to onboard the best candidate for your business, like you say, have retention, they understand the personality piece of what you're looking for as well. So you're always going to get a good connection with other team members. You help, because I help and manage with probations as well. So because I offer a very bespoke service, I can do something as minimal as a client saying to me, I just want you to make an approach. I've got somebody that I would love in my business, but they work for a competitor. Could you make the approach on my behalf? And that's all I want you to do. I don't want you, I just want to see if they're looking. And that could be, say, a set fee just for that introduction. Or I could do anything from that right the way through to help you, assisting with the onboarding process, assisting with contracts, assisting with probations, whether it's 4, 8 or 12 weeks probations. So you've kind of almost got a third party, that person, you've built a relationship up with them anyway through the recruitment process. They feel quite open to have that conversation with you at probation. It's kind of a bit nicer. It's that you're a bit more of an external person. If there are any things that need ironing out, it's always great because you can then be a little bit of a go-between as well. So I do the whole shebang, or you can literally choose bite-sized parts of what that recruitment process it needs for you, which again makes it cost effective because you've got somebody in the business that can do a certain process, certain part of it, and they can do the probation and contracts. That's absolutely fine. But if you haven't, then instead of bringing on a solicitor or something like that, or an HR specialist, then I've got all the right contacts and tools to be able to assist you and help you with that. So you haven't got to think about it. So literally a client might say, I need this person, have the initial meeting, conversation with you. And the next time you have a conversation with them, you've got a shortlist in front of you, them, and they're going, all right, okay, great. I can interview next week. So everything else around that is they haven't even had to worry about. They've just got 4 or 5 top candidates they've got to pick from. They can cherry pick whoever they want or take them all, and you're managing that whole process for them. So the value is very much about giving them their time back, helping them run their own business, and with regards to they can keep doing what they're fantastic at, and they can onboard somebody that they absolutely want, not just the best of an application bunch that's hit their inbox. You could go find the exact person they're looking for.
I think there's another value to working with someone like yourself as well. It's so interesting how many times people say to me, well, I'm going to take on someone, so what should we call this post? And it's almost like why we get really hung up on the name of things. Well, actually you would help someone to go, okay, so what is it you really want? What difference do you want them to make? How do they fit? And it can really help them through that initial process, which again helps to ensure that you attract the right candidates.
Absolutely.
In fact, you've actually provided lots of tips for people who, because not everyone will be at the stage where they can, are ready. I don't want to say can afford, are ready to work with a recruiter, but actually you've given some really good tips there for anyone who is recruiting. It is about being really clear, isn't it, on what you want that person to do. And I noticed you use the words actually down here, the talent. So it's about looking for the talent that you're looking for, and about understanding the expectations of that talent. And I think sometimes businesses, I've definitely seen evidence of it, where people are unsure what the expectation of, particularly if it's a new role where you're trying to solve a problem in a business and go, it's another person we need, it's another person, and almost like you're making it up on the hoof. I've seen that before as well. But by working with you, you'll be able to help them to just step back a minute and take that breath and go, okay, what is it we're trying to achieve here? What do you want this person to do? What are your expectations? Because I think that's really important. The other thing that I really love about you, Georgie, is the work that you do with your clients. Years ago, I used to do a lot of interviewing for Post, and I used to say my job, my responsibility was to ensure that I created an environment to get the very best out of that candidate. And I think one of the things that is missing when you just go through a lot of CVs and just start interviewing people is that they are not prepared. And actually, it's really daunting going for an interview, no matter how confident you are. And you can have a good day and you can have a bad day, but actually you really work with your candidates to make sure that they give themselves the best chance of presenting themselves in a way that enables the company to decide if they are, the client to decide if they're a good fit. And I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're all human at the end of the day. And if you said, so what would you like to do? Would you like to go for an interview today? Everyone would go, oh my God, no, I don't want to go for an interview. And it's just giving them the right tools and the right armory they've got there. So when they do enter that room, they're giving their best. You take a level of their anxiety away because you can give them an idea of the shape of the interview, what that looks like. I have a good relationship with my clients, so I know their interview style. I know what's gonna how they're gonna work and how it's gonna flow. So if I can give as much as I can to my candidates and help them as much as I can through that process, which is so daunting. I mean, I interview every day, so to be fair, for me it's easy. I'm an interviewer and I can do that, but it kind of goes the same for clients as well. So with clients I work with, I actually sometimes, well, a lot of my clients I join on the interview process, because candidates aren't seasoned interviewees and clients aren't seasoned interviewers.
No.
And if you don't recruit very often, or if you've never really recruited before and you're a small company that's growing and you need to onboard some new people, how do I structure this CV? Where do I begin? What can I say? There's things that politically correct I can't say. Can I say this? Can I not say that? So I do join and collaborate with my clients at interview stage and lead a lot of first interviews for clients, so they can sit in, they can see, and they can get the best out of the candidate. And obviously the candidate and I have a relationship anyway, so that always puts the candidate a little bit more at ease. And you're working with the client, and the client go, oh, she's asking the right questions. You have the meeting before, knowing what you need to get out of that client. But it is very much about giving both the client and the candidate the tools they need to make sure they're getting that right person. And it is a challenge, and especially with the landscape that's completely changed with recruitment out there since like post COVID. It is harder out there, and it's tougher, and it's about it's like you say, it's about the client's expectations. What exactly are they looking for? And equally with job titles, I've worked with 2 clients now recently who they're like, we don't know what to call it. We need them to do this. We don't know, what should we call it? And which one I came up with a title and it was great and it's perfect. And they're like, you've got carte blanche. We'll go with whatever you think, but we need them to do this. And I'm like, right, okay. This sounds like this could work. And again, I do the research to find out what title is going to be the best fit. And then another client I've got who they're not a title rich company at all, and a lot of companies out there don't like titles as such. So when I present that to my candidate, I say, well, the role is loosely this. However, they're not massive on titles. It's about the camaraderie. It's about you knowing what you're doing and the expectations of your key responsibilities. But everyone mucks in. They're not precious about titles. So if you're happy with that, it will loosely be this title, and it will probably evolve into something else. But what you might go in and it might be on your contract this title, but you'll never be called that because they're just not that way. So it's absolutely fine sometimes not to have the clarity on that title, but clarity on the expectations. And as long as you present that to your candidate and you're complete, it's about transparency with clients and transparency with candidates, and getting them to marry up together. And as long as you're honest and transparent, you'll always onboard the right person.
If you had to give some advice to someone who was thinking about using a talent sourcer or a recruitment agency or a headhunter, we're not precious about
whatever you want to do,
whatever title you want, we're quite loose with titles.
Fine, yeah.
What are the key things that they need to have done before they have that conversation to ensure that, one, they find the right, we'll stick with talent sourcer for now, the right talent sourcer for them, but also so they make the most of the opportunity to get the best candidate? So what are the things that they should do in preparation for that first conversation with a talent sourcer?
Very much have a clear, as much as you can, have a clear idea of the need that you need within the business. So what is the need? Why are you looking to onboard? What is that recruitment requirement? Is it a brand new role? Is it a change of role? What does that look like? Brand new roles can be super exciting because you're not replacing sort of like, but equally a role can evolve, and it might be, okay, so I'm working with another client at the moment and they've had somebody in a position for years, but they're now replacing that person, but they don't want it to look the same. So they're like, right, okay, so how can we want this role to be different? And so it's about having the right conversations internally with the right people to understand exactly what that recruitment need is and what that looks like, and possibly have an idea of budget. So if you're looking at you might say, I want this person's all singing, all dancing, they're amazing, and I've got 25,000. And we're like, well, okay, you might need about 55 for the talent you're looking for. So again, I can be quite helpful, as in I'm quite Again, it can be very area specific, whether I recruit into London, also recruit down into Exeter and up north as well. So salaries obviously do vary, but the general salary theme with the seniority levels, you have quite a good understanding. So look at your budget and make sure your requirement needs is matching your available budget for that particular role, because you don't want to get somebody who is super excited about you and you're super excited about them, but you can't make the financials work. There's nothing more heartbreaking than going, I would love to have this person, but I can't afford them. But they could absolutely do the job. So have those internal conversations. That's really, really, really important. And work out where that requirement needs. So they're the two, budgets and requirement needs are the two most important conversations to have. And the thing that clients need to remember is there really isn't a risk in using a recruitment agency, talent sourcer, headhunter, because you will only ever pay a fee if they've done the job you've asked them to do, which is onboard a 5-star candidate. So you're not going, oh God, I've just wasted $3,000 because they never found me anybody. You don't pay any fee. Some agencies take a retainer. A lot of people don't. It's the way recruitment has evolved. It's just the way we work, is that you will only ever have to, a penny will only leave the company if you found the right person. So you need to put a bit of a value on what that looks like as well. So you might onboard the wrong person and that costs you an awful lot of money to sort of see them out of the company, or you might have to spend a fraction of that to onboard the right person, which will then be a retained member of staff for sort of years to come. And equally, like you say, get your return on your investment super quickly because you have made sure that you've got a good induction process, you've had a good recruiter on board because you've then onboarded the right person. So you'll get that return on investment a lot quicker. So there isn't a risk, because if you get the right talent sourcer, they'll find the right person for you. And if you don't, then they won't find the right person. You haven't got to pay a penny anyway. So
it's a win-win.
It's a win-win.
And I'm really glad, it's a great way to finish actually, Georgie, because I'm really glad you mentioned that, because I think sometimes the decision to use or not use someone to help you with a recruitment need is defined by, that's going to cost us a lot of money. But actually it will only cost you if they do their work and you find the perfect candidate. And we've already talked about the cost saving in time, finding the right person, onboarding them more quickly, them settling in more quickly, getting a return on your investment more quickly. And I read somewhere recently, I don't know if it's still correct, but I read somewhere recently it takes 5 to 6 months for a new member of staff to be brought on and in, and that's from the moment that they start. And it feels as if when you work with someone who does this day in, day out, you can actually shorten that time for that employee, moving them perhaps from 6 months before they actually start making a return, because that's the investment of time and energy it takes to bring someone on board. And you could shorten that by working with someone and getting the right candidate from the very beginning.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. One client that has literally just done that recently has now got the right person, and I did an induction with them within their first 4 weeks. And normally when they've recruited before, it's taken 6 to 12 months for them to see a return. And it's an industry where you can break things, damage things. You end up costing the client more than you're actually paying them. It's ridiculous. And with them now using me as their consultant, bringing them on board and stuff, doing that 4-week induction with the candidate and with my client, it's not cost one, this person hasn't cost them any money, they've not broken anything, which is great.
It's a good sign.
and equally, which is always a bonus, and equally within their first 4 weeks they've started to make the money already. Now that is so quick, because he has done this for years and years and years, and he never sees a return within the first 6 to 12 months ever. But within 4 weeks, because the right skill sets on board, the right balance, the right candidate, the right ethos, the right work ethic, the right team fit, this person and also giving them guidance on their induction process and the procedures to get this person exactly where they need to be. Within 4 weeks, he's getting a return on investment, which is phenomenal. So you're absolutely right.
Georgie, thank you so much for your time today. I think for me, you've really given us an insight into the work that anyone does, headhunter, talent sourcer, recruitment agency. I think the work behind the scenes is what we don't understand and don't realize, and that helps to understand that value. But you've also given some fantastic tips around preparing yourself to either recruit yourself or to work with someone else and bring someone into your team. That clear idea of need and having those internal conversations, and that really important one about budget. Really helpful to anyone who is thinking about recruiting. One of the things I was thinking about is there are lots of recruitment agencies and individuals and independents like yourself. It feels to me that if you're going to use the services of someone, asking others that you work with for a recommendation seems to make really good sense, and reach out to people who may have already recruited before to see who they're using. But of course, I will be putting details for yourself in the commentary below. And I've had the privilege, Georgie, of watching you, because I think it's worth mentioning that you started your business in lockdown. Yeah. And I think it's worth mentioning that, which makes you, in my eyes, an extremely brave woman. And I think that's worth mentioning. And the fact that I have had the privilege of knowing you in that time and seeing how you work, there is so much that you have made me aware of, and there is so much that you do to make it a very personalized service. And we use all these terms like tailored packages and tailored solutions, but actually it's about a personalized service, and that's what you provide.
No, loving what I do is always a bonus as well. So yeah, and it's getting to know good clients and that sort of 5-star client where you know what you're looking for and how you sort of build relationships with your clients. And equally, every client I've brought on since starting the business in July last year, and they're small to medium-sized businesses which didn't necessarily have a huge recruitment need, but as soon as they've onboarded me to help them with that process, one particular estate agent only wanted one role, and now I've recruited him 5 times within this last sort of year and a bit. And again, 2 or 3 other companies now, we've onboarded sort of 3 or 4 people, because I make the recruitment process with that cost-effective side of it, because we're tailoring it. It means that you're not astronomical, so you're affordable to use with other roles as well, and you build that relationship up with your client. And I have clients just call me, so, oh Georgie, what do you think about this? We're going to do this, and it's and that's the thing. And I'm absolutely more than happy to have any conversation with people, even if they don't know whether they're going to use an agent or not, just to go through those pros and cons and offer a little bit of advice, because it's that full circle, isn't it? It's about being kind, and it's been a horrendous year or so for 2 years for everybody, and what goes around comes around. So if there's any even advice, people don't want to necessarily use my services, but they need a little bit of advice just to point them in the right direction, then that's I do that as well. I do a lot of mentoring with candidates as well, because it's such tricky times. But no, it's loving what you do is always a bonus, and I absolutely love what I do, and I work with some cracking people, so it's good.
And of course, by helping others to recruit the right people to their businesses, ultimately builds their businesses, grows their businesses, which means they want even more candidates.
Absolutely.
It's a beautiful circle that we have. Thank you again for joining me today.
Pleasure.
And for sharing an insight into the recruitment industry, the process, and particularly into your business and how you work and how you differentiate yourself from the next. So thank you, Georgie, for joining me this morning.
Thank you.